Hey Internet, and welcome back. Okay, so we watched Pumpkinhead 4, which is the end of the quadrilogy. Right off the bat, this was very on the nose with the characters actually being named Hatfield and McCoy. They wanted to make sure you knew what they were doing. There was no subtlety at all. Like, the subtitle of the movie was Blood Feud, but they really just had to beat you over the fucking head with it. But what'd you think? I'll let you go first.
It was fine. Didn't hate it, didn't like it.
Better than 2, worse than 3?
Yeah, it was probably maybe on par with the first one, where it's just middle of the road.
Mm-hmm.
Just blah.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit worse, because there wasn't any really scenic, cool shot that I enjoyed.
There were a couple that were okay. I liked that they actually burned down a house. They literally lit a house on fire. That was cool. Some of the gore with, the bear traps was kind of cool. There were scenes here and there. Although, I will say for me, any good graces it got from, the actual practical scenes and the real fire and the gore and all of that, they instantly lost for the ADR. I don't know what happened in this movie. When we were doing Willowvale, because yes, I'm going to bring up our experience again, we had a scene where we lost the audio. The audio file got corrupted, we did not have the audio. And we had to ADR that. Our director sat with us and made us watch the scene to see our lips move and to hear as much of the audio as we could to hear how we delivered it before. And we had to do each phrase a dozen or so times until he got a take that was good enough to match the original. He didn't just say, throw in whatever and ignore the audio levels, ignore matching the lip movements. He made sure that ADR worked. And we had a budget of $0. So I don't know what the hell happened in this movie, but legitimately 50% of the movie or more is ADR'd, and badly. And that really, it took away from the movie. It was so bad that it distracted me from scenes that I otherwise would have enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, the movie lost a lot of points there, because it wasn't just a funny scene where oh, that was kind of weird. It was consistently throughout the entire movie, and so it broke all immersion and all engagement, because all I could notice is how bad the ADR was every time.
Right.
And sometimes, too, all these characters are in some redneck wooded town, because that's where all of these movies take place, but, one of the characters had a borderline Scottish accent, another one sounded kind of Irish, one had an unnaturally high-pitched voice. I don't know what was going on, but they picked weirdest voices for these characters.
At one point, you called Jodie a pirate because she sounded like one.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell was going on. It was so weird. So I don't know. The audio in this movie completely took me out of it.
Yeah.
Originally, I would have said what you said. It was a very middle-of-the-road movie. The story was fine. The effects were cool. There was a couple scenes where it was good, but it wasn't nothing to write home about, not special. But honestly, I was so taken out of the movie by the terrible audio and the levels being weird and the voices not matching. I'd give it maybe a 4.
Yeah,
I'm going to say it's below average for me, just because there were so many glaring problems. Last year when I did this, I had a movie I tried to watch called Scream for Summer, Scream with Summer, something like that. And I can only get about 10 minutes into the movie because the audio mixer, he had the background music, the score, turned up too loud, and you couldn't actually hear the dialogue.
Mm.
And if you look at reviews online, this wasn't just a me issue. I wasn't just being a bitch about it. I wanted to watch the movie, but everyone in the reviews is it's literally unwatchable. You can't hear what the characters are saying. You get none of the context of the story.
Right.
And this was as distracting as that. I could hear what they were saying, but it didn't match their body movements or their mouths, and the accents took you out of it, and the voices were weird, and just completely took me out of the movie. So, as good as Pumpkinhead looked, and it's still practical, it's still a rubber suit monster, it's still a puppet, They still had the elevated grave. They had a couple kills that looked good. The old lady was still there. Some of the green screen effects with Ed were ridiculous, but the visuals were fine. But just the audio was so bad, I can't recommend this one. This is not good. If you're gonna watch Pumpkinhead movies, 1 and 3, that's it. You watch 1, you watch 3. That's the franchise. You're done.
Okay, so here's my thing. I want to know. I get why Ed Harley was in 3.
Because it was the boy that,
he was Pumpkinhead.
Yeah.
But then at the end of 3, the lady cremated herself and she turned into Pumpkinhead.
Mm-hmm.
So it should have been her.
It would have been her chasing the 2 dirt bikers at the beginning of this movie.
Why was Ed Harley still there?
I don't know.
His job was done. Why was he still trapped there?
They don't explain why he's like the spirit of Pumpkinhead or whatever. And he mentions like his curse. But if that's the case, shouldn't everyone who previously summoned Pumpkinhead also have that same curse?
Right. And people say he started it, but there was a Pumpkinhead body previous to Ed Harley.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know. There should be, an entire just team of people, of Force Ghosts sitting there like, don't do this, it's bad!
Right.
And also, like, didn't the ghost appear to her before Pumpkinhead was summoned?
To the witch, right?
No, to the girl. Didn't she see him before?
No.
Or was it only after?
It was after. He appeared to the witch before.
Yeah, I know he was telling the witch, don't let the boy do this.
Yeah.
And he appeared to the dirt biker, the sheriff, when he was on the dirt bike. I thought he appeared to the girl before then. Maybe not.
No, in the last movie he appeared to the guy, but in a dream.
Yeah. But that was the boy, too, so he had a connection to him anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very weird. Like, there's no reason for him to be around. I think they just wanted to have that actor again.
Yeah.
And he must have been really desperate for a paycheck, because...
I've seen Lance Hendrickson in other things. I can't picture what it is off the top of my head.
He did not do as good in this one. His performance wasn't as good, and that green screen really took away from it.
I wouldn't say his performance wasn't as good. It was just, there wasn't anything for him to do other than exist and continue on with the lore that shouldn't be there.
Yeah. And why couldn't they get him on set? Like, what was with that? Like, seriously, if you've seen...
The only thing I could think of, he was there in everything, except for the end, when he was definitely green screen. The only thing I could think of is because they showed the fly in the cup, and you're like, oh, that's a cool shot.
That I did like that shot.
I'm thinking, because it was raining, they didn't want to have him get wet, because he's not supposed to. So they had to green screen him in. That was the only thing I could think of why they would do it that way, but
that could be.
They did such a shitty job at the green screening.
Which is crazy, because, I mean... I know technology is different now than it was then, but, like, if I go into Final Cut right now and just apply the default chroma key with no adjustments at all, it will have less of a halo than that movie did.
Nicer.
Like, that was awful.
Even for 2007, chroma keying was way better than what it should have been in that movie.
I don't know what happened there, but it was not great.
Well, that movie came out in less than a year or so. They were probably just pushing to try and make more money.
Which is crazy, because we mentioned this, too. Every single movie has been made by a completely different team.
Yes. Different
directors, different writers. I think...
The director was the writer for this one, and I think it was
the director was the writer for the third one, but a different guy.
Stan Winston for the first one, he might have written it. I can't remember if he wrote it as well.
I don't know. It said it was based on an old poem, which they recited part of in every movie.
Right.
It was the only thing that was consistent in every movie, actually. But yeah, I don't know.
It's a roller coaster ride with this Pumpkinhead thing here, up and then down.
If we get a little bit of money, maybe we'll do number 5. We'll get our team on the board and be like, hey, all we have to do is be better than 2.
That'd be fun.
Preferably better than 4, but at least better than 2. Shouldn't be hard to pull off. There you go. But yeah, so if you're gonna watch Pumpkinhead, 1's all right, 3's pretty good. Skip the other ones. And after this, we don't have to watch any more Pumpkinhead, because that's the end of it. So now we get to start doing other movies. And I'm not specifying, because I forgot which one is next. But yeah, so stick around. This channel in general, not for this video. The video's ending. But we'll see you tomorrow.